Before we start, thank you to Heatblur for giving me an early access to the F-14BU. To be clear, I pre-ordered this module with my own money. And this video is not a full review, so no lab coats today. And it's also not a manual. It is one question from the pilot seat. Does the upgraded Tomcat make solo flying with Jester less painful? New HUD, better information, Jester updates, navigation, yada yada yada. All of it should mean less guessing under pressure. Not easy, not forgiving, and still a Tomcat. But just maybe less blind. Let's start with the DFCS. The F-14BU replaces the older AFCS with a digital flight control system. But this is not about turning the Tomcat into an easy aircraft. It is not modern in the Hornet sense, and definitely it's not fly-by-wire magic. DFCS is about making the ugly parts of the flight envelope more manageable. When the jet gets slow, when the angle of attack comes up, when roll response starts to matter. This is where DFCS matters the most. Less wing rock, more predictable roll response, cleaner behavior when the pilot is already working. In the old Tomcat, small mistakes can turn into a lot of aircraft very quickly. You had to fight for your maneuvers. With the DFCS, the edge is still there. It's just easier to work towards. It's not easy mode. It's a little bit more forgiving. It's still a Tomcat, and it's much cleaner on the edges when it matters. And yes, those are MiG-28s, also known as F-5Es, because Top Gun apparently made that everyone's problem forever. But the point here is not the nostalgia I'm feeling as we speak. The point is what changes from the pilot seat once the fight starts moving. First, situational awareness. The upgraded HUD puts much more useful information directly in front of me while I am already flying, turning, and trying to keep track of the fight. It is not a modern glass cockpit, but it does make the Tomcat less blind. Second is Jester. With Q Jester and the context button, I can look through the HUD, hold the command, and point Jester towards what I actually care about. Less menu fighting and faster target work. With 4 contacts ahead, that matters. The Phoenixes go out and 2 targets are gone before the merge, but to survive. And now the fight gets close, it gets slower and much less comfortable. This is where DFCS matters. Not because it makes the Tomcat easy, but because the jet feels cleaner when the workload goes up. The rest is old-fashioned work. Manage the energy, get position, take the Sidewinder shot, and do not let the Tomcat punish you for being late. So, we have a better HUD, we have faster Jester, and we have cleaner handling. And don't you worry, gentlemen. She's still heavy, she's still demanding, and thank God she's still a Tomcat. Just less alone in the fight.
6 o'clock high. Bandit is going down.
Air to ground is where the B upgrade stops being just a better Tomcat cockpit and starts feeling like a proper mission workflow. We are at Angel 15 rolling in on an airfield with 2 JDAMs. The important part is not that the Tomcat can drop JDAMs, that's awesome. The important part is how little friction it takes to get there solo. With Q Jester, I can use the HUD to point the crew towards what I actually care about. Jester slews the LANTIRN, finds the target area, refines the aim pod, puts the pod into single target track, and turns that into usable coordinates for the JDAMs. No long backseat detour, no 20-minute argument, just find, confirm, refine, and pickle. This is exactly where the upgrade workflow makes sense. The pilot flies the aircraft. Jester works the sensors. And then there are the smaller things, the things that do not change the mission, but change how alive the aircraft feels. The in-game manual and click to explain feature mean you can point at a cockpit control and actually learn what you are looking at without leaving the aircraft, alt-tabbing and yada yada yada. You can write on the canopy with grease pencil like in the F4. You can customize the pilot, the sunglasses, use hand signals, and even set up those poses with the selfie mode that carry over to the external view. None of that makes the Tomcat faster, none of it makes the missile better, but it gives the aircraft character. And that matters in a module like this, because the F-14 was never just a system checklist. It was always workload, attitude, noise and personality. So yes, the B upgrade brings better tools, better HUD information, faster Jester interaction, JDAMs with the LANTIRN, DFCS cleaning up the edge. But it also gives the Tomcat more soul. And then eventually every Tomcat story ends back at the boat. You still have to fly it, speed, lineup, ball, power, none of that becomes free. The upgrade does not replace the Tomcat. It makes the old machine easier to work with. And don't you worry, fine gentlemen. She's still heavy, still demanding, and still dangerous. Just less blind. 554 going dark.